Hi guys, Mr. 3D Hero here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about LawBreakers and my general thoughts and opinions on the game and whether I'm going to be getting it or not and some of my concerns based on it. Now, I got a chance to play LawBreakers through the beta. I just signed up on the website and I just got entered, and I believe a day or so they gave me a code to input my console, and voila, I got myself a free chance to try out and test the game in multiplayer. Now, I heard a lot of praise around this game. I hear a lot of players, from some of the majority from the Titanfall community, saying how much this game resembles Titanfall. And let me just tell you that that's not true whatsoever. Okay, slightly, there is a slight resemblance in Titanfall and LawBreakers. And that's all mainly down to a specific character called Wraith, who kind of has the same movements as a pilot would have. He has the ability to slide, ability to keep up momentum and such, and that's kind of it. The only other thing I can think of that's quite similar is how you pick up momentum in the game, where you can kind of launch yourself forwards and backwards in the non-gravity section of maps. But that's kind of it. This game is more of a hero-based game, or I'll say slightly hero-ish based game. I'll say think of it kind of like Overwatch, but the characters aren't so colourful. Well, personality wise they're colourful, but they're not that colourful, and they're a bit more, I say, each role has a specific task that can and don't have to always be relied on, such as you don't always have to have a healer on your team. You don't always have to have a defender player on your team. You can go, I believe, all Vanguard if you wanted to, and you can still top the leaderboard and generally win. Now, when it comes down to personally playing the game, I can say generally it was 50-50 for me. On one hand, because I was relatively new to it, and I didn't have a lot of hours put into it, I was getting put into lobbies where I would be with higher level players, and going up against high level players. And the majority of fights would always be me losing and dying a lot, or me doing actually incredibly good. And this is all mainly down to what type of, I say, hero you decide to go with. Now, all the heroes are kind of adjusted to your playstyle, or adjusted to a playstyle that you have to work around. For example, Wraith is I believe an assassin hero who is relatively quick. He has quite a big, large DPS. He has the ability to slow other players down, and he has the ability to also use a explosive knife that does quite a bit of damage to any enemy players nearby. But then at the same time, you also have a hero called the Juggernaut that is quite big and bulky, and he's able to soak up a ton of damage while dishing out more extra damage. And he can be a wrecking force on objective based games, like for example I believe Blitzball, where if the enemy team gets the Blitzball and they get to your area, all you have to do is get in that area as quickly as possible and lay down as much suppressive fire as quickly as possible, and 9 out of 10 you'll probably clear the team, or you'll clear out half or the majority of the team there and then. And that's kind of how majority of fights are. One thing I would definitely say is that out of all the matches I've had, it's always had Wraiths on both teams. You either have 2 or 3 players playing as Wraith, and I'll probably say that's because Wraith is a bit too good in the position at the current moment. Now, the only main problem around Wraith is that he has quite a large DPS for his main primary weapon. And although he only has 25 in the magazine, it does so much damage up close, and it has such a large radius for producing that damage that it could potentially kill very, I say, low to medium health players there and then. Players that have a larger health pool will probably get half the health put down. And that's kind of one of the problems with Wraith. He's too good compared to all the other heroes in the game. So I could probably see this hero specifically being nerfed in the nearby future. But I had a good chance to play around with the majority of the characters, and I can genuinely say that I really did enjoy all of them, to be honest. I'll probably say my most favourite will probably be the Vanguard, because he's very simple, he's very easy to use. I probably say I recommend it for new players, that if you're if you're introduced to the game and you want a class that is quite simple and easy to pick up, the Vanguard is that class to go with. I say afterwards, if you want to try to be a bit more defensive, go Juggernaut. Very lethal, very deadly in up close situations. He's a great, I'll say he's a great bouncer type character, as he's able to basically protect your whole teammates and basically not let any enemy teams get in. And if they do, majority of the time he channels wipes them out there and then. Now, although the characters are quite amazing, and they all have relatively good skills with good cooldowns and such, and there are a few tinkers there, here and there, the one main problem I have with the game, personally for me, is that it has a very high skill gap. Now, like Titanfall has a very high skill gap, where when you start off, if you have never played a game like this that's fast paced, and you have to use your movement here and there, and now I'm not talking about the new Call of Duties either, like Black Ops 3 or Infinity Warfare type of movement. I mean a bit more faster paced, where everything's a bit more fluent. If you've never played that type of game before, like Doom or such, you're probably going to have a bit of a problem in playing this game. Because this game here, the learning curve is quite severe onto new players. The only way I can recommend that you'll probably get better at this is if you play it non-stop, to the point of where you understand a specific character that you loved and played, and you kind of understand all the characters' main roles, and play a good number of matches to see how fair you'll play. Now, that's just personally my experience and my general thoughts on that. I've had many games where I do relatively good, and I know that I'm still relatively new to the game, and I had some good matches, and sometimes I've even topped leaderboards. With my playstyle, I find that quite shocking, to be honest, for such a new game, because it just feels so, it's so quick on console, but the controls are a bit sluggish. That does also remind me to say that the one thing I recommend is that the controls, in the control settings, you need to adjust to your playstyle. When I first played LawBreakers in my first match, this game, I completely lost right there. My first match, I died so many times and had little to no kills. And that was simply because my movement and my speed and my lock-on and just generally everything about my controls were too relatively sluggish. So the one thing I recommend you do before you even head into a match is go into your control settings and tweak your sensitivity, and by all means tweak your aim assist. As you go down by increments, so start by 100, then go by 90, 80, 70 and so forth until you feel that your aim assist is on a quite nice relatively level. For me, I put it around 50 to 60ish, and that basically, it's not too heavy and sticky, but it gives you enough assisting for catching onto a number of players and actually killing them there and then. So I basically talked about the characters. I've talked about how some of the characters feel a bit overpowered, and I've talked about how all the characters are very flexible, where you don't have to play specific roles. You can all go Juggernaut if you want to, or you can all go healers if you want to. The maps now are, I'll say the maps are really beautiful to look at. The maps are always centered with a kind of center area. So the majority of fights, you're going to have your two spawns. You're going to have one end for the friendly and one end for the enemy. And the way the maps are designed is that the middle sections is always going to be the non-gravity section. So the moment you go into the section, you can either stay on the ground, or you can basically go into that gravity section, and you'll basically be able to jump around at much higher heights and basically use your maneuver skills there and then. This is where you're basically going to maximize your current knowledge of how to get around the maps. This is basically where you're going to have to propel yourself forwards using your current weapon and get a catch on the people and basically be unstoppable in a sense. And that's kind of how all the maps are designed. The maps are quite small, nothing too large. I'll probably say they're quite similar to Titanfall's map styles, but the way they're designed is that a lot of confrontation is more in the middle compared to how Titanfall, where a lot of the fights tend to basically go clockwise. But honestly, I can say that the maps do look visually beautiful. Very nice design, very authentic, it also kind of gives you a nice little story behind them, like what's happening or what this area could mean. Like, could it be a headquarters of a mafia gang, or could this be a research area, or could this be like a random area of like a past event that happened here? It's very nice, and generally I would love to see and know more about these maps in nearby future when the game is released. But the one thing I have to get out of my head, there's one thing about this game that I'm not 100% sure but what it is, but there's something about this game that doesn't appeal to me. I've mentioned a lot of pros about this game just throughout the whole video, and a few cons as well. But although all these pros I'm given to this game, there's something about it that I just can't agree upon. There's something about it that doesn't feel right. And usually for most games I can basically describe to you what it is and the reason why I can't purchase it. But for this game here, it does a lot of things good, but the bad thing about this game is that there's something about it that's not appealing to me. Something about it that's not really calling me in. Because I only heard about this game from the majority of players within Titanfall, saying how similar it's going to be. And there's only a small similarity with the game. And the game, it just feels like there's something that's meant to be there for me, but it's not enough for me to go off and actually say this is a purchase for me. Now, I was going to buy this game as a day one. However, I'm still debating about this at the current moment. What I'm probably going to do is give it some time. I'm probably going to wait till it gets released, watch some other players play it, see how they feel, see how the community is, generally see how the content is, because you know that's one of the most important things. Like, this game is being released for quite cheap, and it is being released quite cheap. What type of content are you going to be getting? If the content is good, then I'll probably get into it and give it a go again. If not, then I'll give this game a hard miss. And that's mainly because there's something about the game to me that I cannot explain, I'm afraid. There's something about this game that just feels off-putting, that I can't really go ahead and be fully aware to go ahead and purchase it. And it's quite sad because the game is quite beautiful to look at. The characters are quite unique. They look unique. They look amazing. I like some of the ideas based around them. Like, some of them are pure humans. Some of them are kind of like cybernetic in a sense. Some of them are just insane. Like, it's amazing. It's kind of like a cyberpunk themed game, but with more lethal action, and everyone's flying around. It's something that I would love to play on a regular basis. But there's something about the game that is not attracting me to go ahead and purchase it. And I know for a fact there's nothing to do with me being aware of pre-ordering games. I only usually pre-order games if the game is very well done. I know and I have a lot of faith that the game is going to do well. But there's something about this game that I can't justify purchasing it for day one. So that's kind of my opinions on the game. The game does a lot of good things. The maps are quite beautiful and some of them are well designed. The heroes majority of them are well designed as well. However, there are a few characters that kind of need to be looked into and slightly adjusted so that they feel a bit more in balance with all the other characters. The rewards are quite simple. You get loot boxes, but the loot boxes aren't based around you getting new weapons and such. It's just more of you get new skins and stickers and such. And the price for the game is relatively good. But something about the game is not appealing to me. And whether this affects you guys as well, I would love to hear in the comments. But for me, I'm going to have to give this game a pass. Only until the game gets released and I see a bit more content from the game. Then maybe I'll go ahead and purchase the game again. But for now, I'm going to give it a pass. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then leave a like, a comment and subscribe for more. If you didn't, then by all means leave a dislike. I understand and I know where to improve in the nearby future. So once again guys, thank you all for watching and I hope to see you again soon.